You ever hear the sound of someone's heels before you actually see him? I swear, on Willow Lane. That was always your first warning. Patricia Kincaid's stiletto taps, sharp as a gavel on Sunday morning, echoing down the sidewalk, announcing judgment before you even had time to straighten your shirt. That woman didn't walk. She arrived. Every time, eyes hidden behind sunglasses and a frown set so tight it could crack glass. The day my life collided with hers started with a moving truck parked right in front of my new brick house, under the high, blue Ohio sky. I was halfway out the door, juggling a box full of kitchen stuff, when I saw her. Arms folded, posture rigid, standing at the edge of her driveway like she was guarding the whole street from invaders. Except in her world, invaders meant anybody who didn't fit the exact mold she'd carved for this place. I set my box down and, out of habit, brushed the hair out of my eyes. Didn't even notice her at first. But Patricia, well, she wasn't about to let herself be ignored. "Excuse me." Her voice cut through the morning like a cold knife. I turned, tried to muster up a neighborly smile. "Morning," I said. She just stared, her lips so tight they looked drawn on with pencil. "Are you aware of the HOA guidelines?" she asked, every syllable dipped in accusation. For a split second, I honestly didn't know what she was talking about. HOA guidelines? I'd barely been here an hour. I told her I just moved in. Her eyes narrowed. "Moved in as in, you're renting this property?" I could already feel it. The suspicion, the judgment, the way she sized me up like I was some kind of stray dog that had wandered in from a bad neighborhood. "I live here now," I told her, simple as that. But she was having none of it. "Renters aren't permitted on Willow Lane. It's in the bylaws. This is a community of homeowners." Let me back up a sec. People like Patricia don't just dislike change, they declare war on it. She got closer, those heels now a warning siren. I tried to stay polite, but it was like reasoning with a brick wall. "I don't see how that's your concern," I said. "I'm unpacking. If you'll excuse me." But she cut me off again, all but wagging her finger. "It is my concern. I'm the president of the HOA." Right about then, you could feel every curtain on the street twitching. She thrived on an audience. "You can't just move in without proper documentation," she pressed. "I'll need to see a copy of the lease, at the very least." Lease. The nerve. I took a deep breath, feeling my patience fray, and tried to keep my voice steady. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." That got her. She huffed, spun on her heel, and stalked back to her post, muttering about seeing about that. But you know what? That wasn't even the half of it. The next morning, I opened my front door, still holding my first mug of coffee in the new house. And there it was, a notice of HOA violation, taped dead center. Patricia's handwriting, all sharp angles, spelled out a list of demands. Remove moving boxes. Prove residency. Provide ownership documentation within 72 hours. I stared at that paper, trying to decide whether to laugh or be insulted. I'd closed on the house a few days ago, wired the funds, signed the deed, all of it. Now here I was, being treated like a trespasser on my own front step. "So this is how we're doing things," I muttered, folding the notice and slipping it in my pocket. A throat cleared behind me. Patricia, again, standing in her yard like she'd been waiting all night for this confrontation. "Morning," she said, if you could call it that. "Morning," I replied, sipping my coffee, determined not to give her the satisfaction of a fight. "You received the notice, I presume?" She nodded toward my hand. "Yes, I read it." "And?" she demanded. "And I don't see how this applies to me." My patience was thinning. "It applies to everyone," Patricia snapped. "If you're renting, that's a violation. Improper storage of boxes, violation." She listed off infractions like a lawyer on a power trip. I set my coffee on the porch, straightened up. "Let's clear something up. I'm not renting. Those boxes? I'm moving in. It's called life." Neighbors across the street started coming up with reasons to linger. A guy with a hose, watering the same patch of lawn for 5 minutes straight. I knew Patricia loved this. She wanted to make an example. "Provide documentation if you're truly the owner," she said. "Otherwise, you'll be fined." I almost laughed, couldn't help it. "You want proof? Fine. I'll show you proof. But when I do, I expect an apology." She just snorted. "Don't hold your breath." "Oh, I won't," I replied. "Because unlike you, I don't go around making assumptions about strangers. You know that awkward silence when someone gets called out in public?" Yeah, that was Patricia, jaw set, hands clenching her clipboard, but no comeback. She just turned and stomped off, leaving me shaking my head. Some people really don't know when to quit. That was just the start. Every day brought more notices. Trash cans visible from the street. Boxes on the porch. Failure to register with the HOA. By the third day, it was almost funny. Almost. But being singled out, harassed, reminded me of all the times in my life people tried to tell me where I did or didn't belong. This wasn't about boxes. It was about control. You can keep pulling them down, Patricia called from across the street, but they'll keep coming back until you comply. I'd had enough. I marched right to the edge of my lawn, stack of notices in hand. You want to talk? Let's talk. Neighbors appeared like magic, as if this was the morning's entertainment. Patricia made her case, again, about compliance, about rules, about how renters destroy property values. If you really own this house, you'd have nothing to hide. But everything about you screams tenant, she spat. That one stung. But I held my ground. You're overstepping. I don't owe you explanations. Not here, not on my own lawn. She tried to rally the neighbors, tried to shame me. One person breaks the rules, the whole community suffers. But her audience wasn't buying it. People started looking away, shuffling their feet. I bought this house because I wanted peace, I said. Not to fight with someone who doesn't even know my name. Her face flushed, but she kept pushing, desperate for control. This is my neighborhood, Patricia insisted. People respect me because I make sure things are done right. I looked her dead in the eye. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you earn. That landed. Hard. After that, she retreated, but the battle was just getting started. Her next move? An unscheduled compliance check. She marched up my driveway, camera phone in hand, snapping pictures of my porch, my lawn, even the cracks in the sidewalk. You're trespassing, I said, calm as ever, dirt still on my gloves from gardening. I'm documenting violations, she replied. Failure to comply leaves me no choice but to escalate. I'd had enough. I reached in my pocket, pulled out my deed, held it up for the world to see. You want proof? Here it is. I unfolded the stamped document, the county seal shining in the sun. A hush fell. Neighbors, the mail carrier, even Patricia herself. This house is mine. Purchased outright. No lease. No landlord. I'm the homeowner. She sputtered. Anyone could print something like that. I just raised an eyebrow. You think you can fake a county seal? Go check the records. The mail carrier chimed in. She's right. You can check that online in minutes. But even faced with the truth, Patricia dug in. Ownership doesn't excuse noncompliance with HOA rules, she barked. And it doesn't give you the right to harass neighbors you don't approve of, I shot back. You assumed I didn't belong here, why? Neighbors were shifting, whispering, the tension thick as old honey. This isn't about who belongs, Patricia tried, but everyone saw through it. No, I said. It's about you being wrong and too proud to admit it. For once, she didn't have a response. You know what's wild? The more she pushed, the less people followed. I started getting small waves of support. A mother with a stroller pausing to whisper, not all of us think like Patricia. A pie on my porch from a neighbor I hadn't even met yet. Meanwhile, Patricia doubled down, holding impromptu HOA meetings, warning people about the threat to community standards. Then, just when I thought she'd run out of tricks, she uncovered a boundary dispute. According to a new county survey, part of the backyard Patricia bragged about at every barbecue. Well, that little 6-foot strip actually belonged to my property now. She stormed over, survey packet in hand, face flushed. Care to explain this? She demanded. I looked over the papers, nodded. Yeah, I know about the survey adjustment. My deed includes the corrected lines. Her jaw dropped. You knew? Of course. The county disclosed it at closing. But I've maintained this yard for years, she cried, her voice rising. You can't just claim it. I didn't, I said quietly. The county did. If you have an issue, take it up with them. Neighbors gathered, holding their breath. Even Howard, her old ally, finally spoke up. If the county survey says it belongs to her, it belongs to her. That's the law. Patricia's composure cracked, but for the first time, she looked unsure. I don't want your yard, Patricia, I said. But I won't be bullied out of what legally belongs to me. Not today, not ever. Her kingdom was shrinking, and everyone could see it. She called an emergency HOA meeting, stuffing flyers in mailboxes, mandating attendance like she was summoning a jury. The community center was packed. She ranted about threats to the neighborhood, about outsiders, about the danger of people who wouldn't obey. When my turn came, I stood up. I'm not a tenant. I bought my house outright. I never broke a rule. The land dispute was a county correction, not my doing. I just want respect, the same respect all of you want. Howard spoke up. This is personal, Patricia. You've made it that way. Denise, the young mom, raised her hand. Time for new leadership. We need someone who listens, not someone who dictates. A vote was called. 36 ballots, counted by trembling hands. The results: 9 for confidence, 27 for no confidence. Patricia's reign ended right there, her clipboard trembling in her hands as she realized the tide had turned for good. Her husband, Richard, quietly led her home, but you could see she was lost, stripped of the one thing that had given her identity. The next morning, everything felt different. Neighbors smiled again. Kids played out front. For the first time since I'd moved in, I could breathe. I got an apology from Jeff, the man across the street who'd once believed Patricia's every word. We all make mistakes, I told him. What matters is what we do after. Patricia stayed inside for days, blinds drawn, her world smaller than ever. I didn't take joy in it. Power had been her armor. Losing it must have felt like losing herself. A couple weeks later, Patricia emerged, looking 10 years older, no clipboard, no blazer. She crossed the street, her voice trembling, and said, I overstepped. I thought being president meant control. All I did was push people away. I'm sorry. The crowd that had gathered held its breath, waiting to see what I'd do. I accepted her apology, but told her the neighborhood needed to hear it too. She nodded, promising to try. That night, Willow Lane felt free. Laughter drifted from porches, kids played under the streetlights, and the only sound you heard was the breeze and the quiet click of a screen door. No more heels of power, just life. Denise joined me on my porch. You stood up for all of us, she said. Sometimes peace has to be earned. I just smiled, watching fireflies spark in the dusk. I finally felt at home. Look, if you take anything from this, let it be this. Ownership isn't about fences or deeds. It's about how you treat the people living beside you. True power? It's not control, it's respect. Pride and assumptions can poison a whole community, but a little courage can clear the air. And hey, if you've ever tangled with an HOA or lived through your own neighbor nightmare, drop your story below. Where do you stand? Rules or reason? Control or community? I want to know.